All right. So last live stream we went over the Google documents that three ex Senate moderators had posted: Peaches, um, Lumi, and Cosmic. Now in these uh in these Google documents, they've and specifically in Peaches outlines that Lio has been abusive towards him, right? And the allegations seem to continue to run with uh with Lio specifically, and the fact that Peaches has come out with these allegations, I'm taking them seriously, but I'm also taking them with a grain of salt. One of the mistakes made during the release of these Google Docs was that Peaches decided to use Jibs's confrontation and Jibs's story without their permission. And it's absolutely disgusting. The call that they posted in the Discord is very telling on Lio's end, because it's a direct video of Lio. It's direct evidence of Lio abusing yet another person with video evidence. Right? It's not hearsay. It's not testimony, it's a direct video, but it was used without Jibs's permission. So let's give Jibs an opportunity to speak for themselves, advocate for themselves, and let's hear them out. Uh, Kobe O, thank you for becoming a member. You are the best. Thank you for becoming a gym rat. Oh my God, the sound is muted. I apologize. I apologize. I don't know why it was muted.
That I shouldn't have had to even make this video, as hope.
Oh, and Crystal, big shout out to Crystal Flame for advocating for Jibs. Crystal Flame and Queen Serafina are just the best for advocating for him. I really appreciate that.
Plus Peaches, Lumi, and Cosmic had absolutely no right bringing this to the forefront. It completely disgusts me in every single way that they felt that they had the right to do such thing. This video is going to be very quick, but it is absolutely necessary. A friend of mine, known as Jibz, has had their story talked about and exposed without their permission as a gotcha against Lio. They had their story weaponized. This has been done.
I agree with the weaponizing.
By Hopeless Peaches, Lumi, and Cosmic. In this video, there's a few things that Jibz would like to make clear, and I would like to provide some context before handing the stage over to them. For context, Jibz confessed to Queen Serafina that they were still in contact with their groomer and handed over a person's Discord tag to them. Jibz, to this day, heavily regrets this in every single way.
Thank you, Mr. Borgliani. I appreciate it. I hope your hand feels better.
Now, as many CSA survivors would understand, it's hard to make that disconnection from your groomer. As you may know, this is the effect that grooming has on people. Groomers will make you reliant on them, making you feel that you're nothing without them. This is easy to understand if you yourself are a victim of grooming. Lio and everyone else within this call did not give Jibz this understanding at the time. When this was told to Queen Serafina, Jibz was brought into a call with Lio, Queen Serafina, Hopeless Peaches, and many other Senate mods. In this call, Jibz was verbally abused, victim blamed, victim shamed.
So Jibz outlined this as well, and I'm not sure. I can't remember if they did this in this video, but the reason why Jibz came out with everything is because Jibz witnessed the downfall of Coyote Lovely, right? Jibz witnessed the confrontation between Coyote Lovely, the Senate, and Lio Convoy. Jibz felt the need to be honest and come out and come clean with a particular item, and instead of appreciating Jibz for coming clean or for just saying the truth. Um, uh, they kind of just jump down his throat for it. They're kind of just like, oh my god, it's absolutely horrible what they've done. They just jump down, mainly Lio, jump down Jibs's throat and just put blame to them. Now Lio gets specifically graphic in this call, and I don't like it. I do not like it. That is definitely a pattern of behavior that Lio has. I don't know why when Lio is very heated or very high energy or having a high energy conversation, he takes it to like a sexual route. It's just odd to me. I don't get it. I wish he would stop doing it. He did it with uh he did it with Rosa Ray Ramsey, and he did it with Jibs, and I do not like that he gets specifically sexually graphic towards Jibs, and then also towards Rosa Ray Ramsey. And I acknowledge Rosa Ray Ramsey is not a saint, guys. I acknowledge that, but I don't think that constitutes Lio abusing them and Lio getting specifically sexually graphic with Jibs or Rosa Ray Ramsey. And Jibs and Rosa Ray Ramsey, let me outline, they are completely on two different levels, okay? Jibs is way better than Rosa Ray Ramsey. That's all I will say. Oh.
It was presented with footnotes from Lumi, Hopeless Peaches, and Cosmic. They got information wrong, misconstrued a lot of facts, and outright added allegations which are not true. They also dragged and presented personal information about Jib's family which isn't true in any degree. They had absolutely no right to release this video.
I would like to preface this with the fact that I was never reached out to by any of the people who released this information. This was done without my consent, and if I had been reached out to, I would have said no, as many people who I have spoken with about this topic are aware of. Also, my pronouns currently are he, they, and my pronouns at the time of this call were they, them. She, her is used in this call to refer to me, which is not correct, but was also not malicious or intentional. And due to that fact, I'm not okay with people using this to claim transphobia.
Okay, so although the incorrect pronouns were used, Jib says it's not transphobic. Okay, let's keep that in mind.
On top of that, before we dive into this call, I would like to provide some much needed context. What happened was that I had kept contact with Vita secretly, and during this time, Vita requested that I give him the Discord information of an individual who was in minor
Hi, Jibs.
at the time, so that they could chat, and I gave it to him. I do not stand by my actions from then, and I think that is clear in the fact that I had confessed.
Oh, I'm Jibs. I'm going to talk about the question that I asked in Flatly's chat the other day. So I hope that's fine. The Jibs was in Flatly's chat the other day because Flatly was also going over Jibs's response to the Google documents that were released. I had the question of, because you hear Queen Seraphina in this call. I had the question of, because Jibs and Queen Seraphina are currently, they're close. They're okay. They're on good terms, which is great. I'm happy for them. I'm glad they're on good terms. I asked Jibs if Queen Seraphina has ever talked to them about this. And if there was like not really a direct apology, but there was an acknowledgement of what happened, right? Because I don't expect Queen Seraphina to apologize, but if she apologized to Jibs, that's cool. That's really based. I really appreciate that. But there's no expectations of an apology for me on my end, right? Jibs had told me that Queen Seraphina and them are good. They're fine. They talked about it. Everything is clear. So although we hear Queen Seraphina in this call, Queen Seraphina has taken the proper action to clarify things. And to acknowledge what happened and possibly apologize. So that is a W on Queen Seraphina's end. W.
Confessed all of this rather than keeping it hidden. And I did take actions after what I did to have contact between this individual and Vita cut off. Once I confessed to this in a DM with Queen Seraphina, I was told there would be a call. This was that call.
Okay, so a year and a half ago, when Lisa came to us about saying that Vita was talking to her, that's what we're talking about, right?
I believe so, yes.
Can you please sit closer to your mic?
I'm sorry. I'm like right next to my mic.
Is there something wrong with my connection?
So Jibz says I'd have to go back into our logs to see specifics to confirm or deny, but I'm pretty sure considering I received a direct apology from almost every mod in that call. Okay, that's great. I'm glad they at least apologized to you. I'm really glad.
If you can, if
Yeah.
not, raise your voice.
Yeah, I turned up my input a bit, if that helps.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I just got a new mic. So.
how did you get all these logs?
I had an alt account I used back then to speak with Vita.
So a year and a half ago, you were still speaking with Vita.
Yes.
Why?
I think I didn't want to do the work to have to cut him off. I didn't want to have to deal with that.
Even though we had a
I
very
guess-
long call with you and Sarah about it.
So this is where I have a hiccup. Jibz says I didn't want to do the work. Probably in reference, like I didn't want to. Wait, actually, you know what? I don't want to make an assumption. Let me see what exactly. Let me rehear what Jibz said for a second, guys.
Vita.
So a year and a half ago, you were still speaking with Vita.
Yes.
Why?
I think I didn't want to do the work to have to cut him off. I didn't want to have to deal with that.
Okay. So Jibz says, I didn't want to cut him off. I didn't want to do the work to cut him off. It is not completely not Jibz's fault that they didn't want to cut off communication with Joshua Vita. That is like the way that Lio treats this, the way that Lio jumps on Jibz's ass because Jibz didn't want to initially cut off the communication is like getting onto someone, getting onto like a wife that is domestically abused or possibly a husband that is domestically abused and they don't want to leave their spouse right away. They don't want to leave their partner right away. That is completely 100% victim blaming. Okay? It's horrible. It's disgusting. I don't know why Lio thinks it's okay to do this. But just because Jibz didn't want to do the cutting off does not mean Jibz is a bad person. They could have been still manipulated by them, whether talking to them or not.
Even though we had a
I
very
guess-
long call with you and Sarah about it, we still kept talking to him even after that.
Yes.
Even after we told you if we found out you were doing it again, we'd have to contact your family.
Yes.
You want to explain to me exactly what is so valuable about Vita that was important to do?
There is, oh my God, Lio. Dude, you're, this is already making me mad. Manon. Although Jibz is still talking, or was, sorry, not is, was at the time, a year and a half, or at the time of this call, even a year and a half ago from this call, was still talking to Jibz, does not mean Jibz was placing value on Vita, on Joshua Vita. That the fact that like Lio makes this assumption right then and there, and it's just like, what makes Vita so valuable is just like disgusting. It's gross. It's gross.
I'm not exactly sure now.
Here you are.
I
Here you are. There's no way you didn't weigh this. I'm sorry, but there's no way. No way. Because you know that your family's garbage. You know they'd probably hurt you if this happened. So you had a thought process, and I'm not going to sit here and allow you to lie to me. I already allowed that enough plenty, apparently. You're going to tell me the reason.
Within the call, there was a common tactic used where Lio Convoy would provoke the idea of contacting my family as a looming threat throughout the whole time when he was dealing with my case. The idea was that if I stepped out of line by contacting Vita, my parents would be contacted and told about it. While I understand the sentiment behind this, he knew I had a complicated relationship with my parents. He knew that things at home were difficult at the time for me, and that did not stop him from claiming he would contact them. So the fact that he was willing to potentially put me at risk scared me at the time. To add on to this,
I think the fact that Lio wanted to use Jib's family like that as if it's a looming threat it's horrible. Like it's intimidating. It's definitely intimidating. When you cut off family, um this has happened in my life before, right? We all have toxic family members, absolutely toxic family members, and sometimes we have to cut them off. To be in a position where you are vulnerable and to have other people know that you are vulnerable and for people to use that vulnerability against you is disgusting. It's 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 scummy behavior. And the fact that Lio decided to use that as a looming threat against Jibs, if you don't do what I say, then I will do this. I will call your family. It's horrible. That in and of itself puts Jibs back into the situation that they don't want to be in, that they are striving not to be in. Horrible.
there was a claim made within the video where they said that my parents were physically abusive to me. This isn't true. I suffered from emotional abuse and medical neglect, but not physical abuse. Again, Lio was fully aware of this at the time as well.
Did you like the attention? Is that what is it? Like the validation he
was-
gave you?
that was probably it, I'm pretty sure.
How old were you when that happened?
17.
You were still a minor.
Yes.
When did you actually cut him off?
A common theme with my experience is that any time I would relapse to my abuser at the time,
CXT says, by the way, the call gets worse. It definitely does get worse. I will go out there and say, guys, if you are like triggered by yelling or whatever, it gets worse. Okay, guys? Just a heads up.
Vita, it was held against me. They accused me of only doing this for attention and that I had malicious intentions, when I wasn't and didn't. I acknowledge that this was a betrayal of trust, and for that I have repeatedly apologized. But to frame it as anything more than a victim relapsing into old behaviors is untrue. I was trying to escape, but as a victim of abuse, it's so hard to break that cycle.
I agree with Jibs right there. It is so hard to break that cycle, but also that cycle is a long-term process. It's a process. It's not something that you can get rid of. I think Lio has this naive idea that anybody that goes through trauma should be healed within a matter of a year or like a few months after they have gotten out of this situation. It is not that. Sometimes when you go through trauma or sometimes when you are emotionally abused, especially by a family member, it takes years to heal. Sometimes you die with like that sense of trauma. It's horrible. And to like dismiss it and have the expectation that people should just be completely healed and you shouldn't have any problems cutting this person off, or you shouldn't have any problems with your trauma is, like Magnetar is saying, unrealistic. It's completely unrealistic. I agree.
something you need to rip apart bit by bit, and it's not going to go perfectly the first time, or even the second. A groomer is like a parasite. They build up your trust, isolate you from everyone else, and force you to be reliant on them so that you'll never leave. It's such a horrible cycle that's very hard to escape. A key difference I did notice, and the fear that I had with this information coming to light, though, was the reason behind the fear was different per person. With Queen Seraphina, I was scared of her being disappointed in me for not being honest with her. But with Lio, I was scared of my parents being called. I was scared of him shouting, berating, and shaming me.
It's great that Jibz said that. It's really great. I'm out. Love you. Bye, Magnetar. Love you too. You're awesome. It's great that Jibz says that. Where with Queen Seraphina, he he didn't want to let Queen Seraphina down. He didn't want to disappoint her, right? But with Lio, there was definitely that intimidation factor that took place. There was definitely the looming threat of, I better do what Lio says or he's going to call my family. And that in and of itself is toxic alone. Hi, Based. Base Spartan, hello.
And my fear was repeatedly justified, as everything other than my parents being called happened.
Slippery Freak says, my abusive father died almost a decade ago, and I still deal with the trauma every single day. I still have habits I have picked up for survival. I'm a whole ass adult. Then Jibz under it says, under Slippery Freak's chat, and Slippery Freak, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. I really do apologize. I'm so sorry. Jibz says, literally, the fear somewhat kept me away from Vita, but also made it incredibly hard for me to be honest if I ever go back to Vita. So true.
I believe it was a day or so before I turned 18.
What was the final straw?
I don't
AI live, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it.
remember exactly.
I'm not buying that. Not today. You've lied to me plenty of times. You sat there and thrown my trust in the garbage, so you're going to give me a doggone answer. I am not going to accept I don't know and I don't remember. I am not stupid, and you will not treat me like I am.
Lio, let me give you an ounce of reality here, okay? I'm going to be your reality pill. You are that stupid, okay? The fact that you think that it is okay to talk to somebody like that makes you that stupid. You're that stupid. That is the reality of the situation. You are that stupid.
Answer.
I know.
And the answer part is when people say answer like that, that is very familiar. The reason why I say it's very familiar is because Lio Convoy has a friend named Angry Slug. And when Angry Slug gets in a call, there was a particular call with Lio, or not with Lio, with Angry Slug in the Grimm's list. And the Grimm's list did something that Angry Slug did not like. And Angry Slug decided to have a call on their live stream about this particular person. I can't remember what the Grimm's list did, but Angry Slug was very heated and had this person, the Grimm's list, on their live stream and was yelling at them, right? Angry Slug was never satisfied with what the Grimm's list was saying. And the Grimm's list would sometimes be quiet and not answer questions at all or not answer statements at all. And Angry Slug, I have witnessed him say the word answer the same way Lio says it too. I would not be surprised if those two pick that up from each other. Would not be surprised. Now, I do not think Angry Slug is abusive. I don't think so at all. But I think it's very familiar that they say that word in the same context, in the same cadence. I think that's interesting.
I am just genuinely trying to remember some pieces of it. I tried to
Why
go through
don't you go to the logs and figure it out, since you clearly have them?
the logs on my alt account only go for so long because then it was no longer on Discord, it was on iMessage, and I had completely deleted everything off of iMessage, and it's been over 40 days, so I cannot recover those.
So you can't remember why you cut off this child predator. Can't for the life of you remember.
I don't remember what the exact last straw was or exactly why I did it, the exact day I did.
When did you turn 18?
March 1st, last year.
Of last year?
Yes.
So from your 17th to your 18th, you were still talking to this guy, sitting in this server, knowing full well you shouldn't have been doing it.
So Lio even acknowledges that Jibz was 17 to 18, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to Lio. That doesn't keep Lio from becoming graphic in nature. That's horrible. Just so fucking gross.
Yes.
Why'd you bring this up today?
The reason I struggled to answer the question within the call is that there wasn't a particular defining event that I could pinpoint. The most I could do, now that I've reflected on things, is draw parallels to when I turned 18, as that was symbolic for me. I wanted to turn over a new leaf, start anew, and be better. So, being asked this question felt unfair because I couldn't give a specific answer at the time,
Badwick says this Lio guy is a freak, total freak.
given the pressure, the shame I felt, and the fear I had. It makes sense why I couldn't find the right words in that moment, especially with all the eyes watching.
Jibz, the almighty what's your full name? Let me see your full name. Oh my god, that is such a if that's a cool name. That's a cool name. The almighty Do Hansen. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. W. W name. I like your name. It's awesome. What Jib said something. Oh, Jib says I've been distant from him for a while, but we had calls recently discussing things. He at least is not doubling down on his stuff and has admitted he fucked up majorly. Oh my god, why is there a delay in my mouse, guys? I think my mouse is about to die. I gotta fix it. No dying. We can't have dying mouse. Hi, Bloodburn. Thank you for being in the chat. Welcome.
Watching me and expecting a quick, clear answer. I would like to say that most of the people here have apologized to me for how they conducted themselves within the extended version of the call. There's some cut content within this call, and I will be attempting to find it as I plan to make another reply, hopefully down the line.
Lio is a Karen. Yes, total Karen.
However, there's a list of people such as Busy Robot Hands,
Hi, Jenny.
Queen
Welcome.
Serafina, Baiji, as well as some who weren't even present for the call like Drunkle and Monstrous, who I don't think should be dragged into this. These people have not only apologized in the past, but have also repeatedly been there to support and check in on me over time.
Feeling really awful about it for a while, and after watching the beauty stuff, Veda was mentioned, and
Yes, he was. You never did file a report against him, did you?
I started one, and then I checked.
That's a yes or a no question. That is not an essay question.
So this is like a pattern of behavior that we have with Lio that we have observed. Fundamentally, when Lio asks a question or the Senate, they do the same thing too. Oh, boyfriend's on the phone. I heard boyfriend talk and I was like, what's going on? I thought someone was here. Boyfriend is on the phone. Silly me. Anyways, there is a pattern of behavior here where when Lio will ask a question and you attempt to answer that question, he will tell you you're not answering it. It's very gaslighty. It's very like dude, you're a prima donna. Like, just let people answer the question. It doesn't matter whether it's to your standards or not. They're answering the question. This is a prime example of Lio doing that. A very big prime example of Lio doing that.
No, I had spoken with
No.
some people, but
With some people. Who are some people?
I believe it was a deputy or
LMAO, Leah, who else do we know that says that? Totally. Totes my goats.
a sheriff in his
I know who. Do you know who? I know who. Slug.
area.
And what did they tell you?
I believe they told me to keep contact with them and that we were going to do another call to go over everything, but I never did that.
For this section of the call, I want to clarify that I was in the process of attempting to file a police report against Vita. However, after the first call from my initial report, I panicked out of fear of my parents finding out, and out of stress of having to recount and present the trauma that I went through to the police, leading to me not following through with this report. After this call, I chose to reach out again to file a full report to the police, and this time I went through with it completely.
During all this, he's preying on another child. You're facilitating it.
So it turns out, because Jibz clarified this the other day, it turns out that Vita did not prey upon this child, okay? On this other child. So Lio gets mad at Jibz for no apparent reason. Lio's just getting mad at him because Lio thinks like another child is being preyed upon. And Vita actually didn't prey upon that child.
Then you hide it from us. So not only have you hidden your interactions with Vita, you hide the fact that he's preying on yet another child.
So again, let me outline this. Lio is factually not representing what factually happened, okay? What happened was that Vita wanted to talk to a minor, right? Vita was able to talk to the minor, but all they did was play video games. Vita didn't prey upon this minor. But Lio can't ask open-ended questions, can't fully investigate the situation, has to jump down your throat before even fully investigating everything. And Vita didn't even prey upon this child at all. Oh my god. My soundboard hit a button on my keyboard. Let me fix that. Hold on, guys. So sorry. Vita didn't even prey upon this child that is being mentioned in this call.
Why?
I feel like this comment from Lio is incredibly unnecessary. I understand the risk I put the person in, and that them being groomed by Vita is something that could have happened due to my actions, and I still deeply regret it. However, they were never groomed, abused, or anything along those lines by Vita. The two simply played video games together and chatted. So it's really, really distressing that Lio would ever simply imply that I would try to put someone in the same position I'm in. It's not fair for him to say or do this, especially when it is not what happened.
Don't tell me you don't know. If you say that, I'm going to genuinely lose my mind on you.
I did not want to deal with the repercussions of my actions back then.
You didn't mind doing it. You just didn't want the consequences. But you like talking to a guy who likes to put his hands or wants to put his hands on children, slips into their DMs. I'm such a lesbian, I wouldn't like a guy.
Bro. Why? Why? Why are you using sexuality as an insult? Like, dude, this is crazy. This is crazy. So this is a DM. It says it's stupid, of course, a dumb teenager can't ejaculate or whatever. But you dated a dude though. Um, then someone says, uh, "Have you started?" Then Hugh Carpet says, "Have you started discussing the Bible yet? As was mentioned in hashtag Bible study, or has that?" And then Dudeman says that discussion will happen on my way home in a few hours. Then Hugh Carpet says, "Good to know, thank you. Though may I join now for the time being." Then Dudeman says, "Vita literally talked about you getting his surname, you idiot. You didn't reject it." Then Hugh Carpet says society pressured her to commit, right? Then Grim says, "I can actually hear you yelling." Then Hugh Carpet says, "Indeed, very emotive."
This was and is a very distressing point that was repeatedly made during my time in Senate and DMs with Lio. It also really shows that, despite having handled several grooming cases and communicating with the victims, Lio does not seem to fully understand how grooming works and what it does to a person. Lio equated me being groomed and taken advantage of by a man to me being attracted to men and thus being straight, invalidating my identity as a lesbian at the time. There's a big difference between being groomed and an actual
The fact that Lio just like uses that is just like, dude, like really, you're the moral high ground here. Like you're supposed to like preach morals and ethics, and you're using somebody's sexuality against them. Gross. Disgusting. Jib says, ever since the first call I've had with Lio, sexuality was a debate because of my grooming. And then Jib says, I have like archived six archived calls, not including this leaked one, to go through, and those are just what I have been sent / what was recorded. That's good.
genuine attraction to someone and building a relationship. Lio and others in the Senate would invalidate
Oh, Strawberry asks a good question. Jibs, will the calls be posted on the channel? I think Jibs is going to give a more in-depth response to everything.
that and say that I'm straight now because of my grooming.
And it's going to, yeah, the video will be posted on their channel.
Which is so distressing and disheartening even now looking back on it.
Jibs,
That they would both
let me know if I'm incorrect.
invalidate my sexuality and try to equate my grooming to an actual relationship.
But you still have him in your life. Even after we tell you explicitly that that is unacceptable. After you thank us for getting you away from him, but you didn't actually get away from him. You just lied to everybody who cared enough to try to help you. And I swear to God, if the rest of you sit quiet this entire call, I'm going to remove every single one of you from staff.
So this is the situation that I described in the last live stream, where Lio gets pissed off at everyone in the call for not berating Jibs enough, and that he's the only one that's yelling at her. Look how mad this dude gets. Listen, it's just insane. If Lio ever talked to me like this, I'm gonna flat out say this. Actually, not just me, anybody in this world like this, go out in the real world and talk to somebody like this, and you're gonna get decked in the mouth. If somebody ever spoke to me like this, I would fucking punch you. I would hit you. Let's listen to what Lio does.
You people better start opening your mouths instead of leaving it to me every single time! I'm sick of it! Every time we're doing something like this, every single time we have to handle this, I'm the only one doing it! Knock it off! If you don't want to handle stuff like this, leave!
I would like to raise the point that I did inform Lio and everyone else that people
Lio would like us to believe that he's not abusive, guys. Lio would like us to believe that he's innocent, guys. And instead of Lio actually taking accountability of his actions and his unhinged behavior, he's going to attack other people like patchwork. This is insane. This is crazy. Dude, this is like foolproof evidence of you yelling at people, unhinged behavior on 2 different occasions. Yeah, it's abusive. This is like primary evidence. This is video footage. Audio recording of you yelling at people at the top of your lungs because they're not doing a good enough job in your eyes. What is wrong with you, dude? What the fuck is wrong with you? If you ever talk to me like that, I'd hit you. Sometimes getting yelled at like that initiates somebody's fight or flight response. This is insane. This is crazy that this guy thinks it's okay to yell at people like that. Yell at his friends like that. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Shouting at
It is so insane.
and around me.
Jibz says I was also shown logs from the mod/drama chat, Lio getting angry at other mods for disagreeing with him on how my situation was handled. Those will be shown later of course. Okay, good. Leah versus Lio boxing match. Totally. Happy Bunch. Let's get Happy Punch promo. Let's get Keemstar onto it. No, just kidding. Keemstar wouldn't be like, whatever.
Is a significant trigger for me. It not only impacts me emotionally by increasing my anxiety, but also affects me on a physical level as I have POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. When people shout around me, it can cause my heart rate to spike, which can lead to me experiencing heart attack-like symptoms and even passing out. Despite this,
like those symptoms are very serious. Heart attack like symptoms.
for warning, Lio
It's not just that, it also gives people anxiety. Just imagine having anxiety and being like Lio's friend and getting talked to like this. You wouldn't be my friend anymore. I would not be cool with you.
shouted around me throughout this call. Another thing to note is that this call, in the context of all the other calls I was the center of, was
Lio shouldn't be doing predator hunting. So true, Mighty. He shouldn't.
quite tame, as surprising as that might sound. The behavior, specifically that of yelling and other calls that I was a part of, was a lot worse than this one, and again, there's no excuse for it.
Oh, I have stuff to say later, but no.
Really?
So then people start to speak up. All because Lio has a temper tantrum that not enough people are berating Jibz. So now people are like, okay, yeah, let's yell at Jibz because Daddy Lio yelled at us.
You gave him another person.
Leah deserves a steak after the stream is over. Totes. But today for dinner, I am making trout. I love trout.
Hello?
I don't know why I did. I genuinely don't.
You don't know. You don't know.
Mind.
No, you do know. You just don't want to say it. Again, none of us are shaming you for anything. The truth, right now, is as good as any.
You can't just float around in life going, oh, I don't know why I did this. I don't know why I did that. Jibz, stop it.
One point I would like to add here is that even with my story being dragged out, with the preface that is going to be censored, they failed to do even that. As you can hear, my name is mentioned here. So firstly, they took my story without consent. Secondly, they had no permission from me to do such a thing. If they had ever asked, I would have outright denied them because I didn't want this to be out there. And thirdly, they didn't even censor it correctly. They failed in every single aspect. Something that I would also like to add is that I would like it if my statements and experiences were separated from Peach's, Lumi's, and Cosmic's experiences as much as possible. Not only did I not approve of them sharing what I went through, but I did know I would never have approved of them using it in order to prove their own point, since they lacked evidence for some of their personal claims and saw my call as the next best thing.
That statement alone is like a huge W for Jibz. Huge W. I'm so glad that they felt empowered enough to say that. I'm so glad they felt empowered enough to advocate for themselves and say, hey, not cool that you used my story without my permission. I want my story away from you. I'm taking my power back. That's a W. W Jibz.
Also, Lio did indeed apologize to me for this call. Emphasis on this call and only this call. But only
So Lio apologized.
after he was told to do so by Peaches.
That is just so telling in and of itself. Lio apologized, but only after Peaches made them say sorry. Lio. This ain't it, buddy. This is not it. This is not it.
As of now, the only message I have received from Lio reads, I'm sorry you got used as a cousin against me. Genuinely.
The more you just don't say it, it's gonna get worse.
That's not genuine. That is fucking disingenuous, dude. Lio ain't actually sorry. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's a joke. That is a joke. Hey, K-Huck.
Worse for you. If you just come out about it right now, it'll be
Like,
a lot better for you.
There is a saying, the truth will set you free. It's gonna set you free right now if you just come out about it. Really.
I genuinely don't know why I gave him.
No, I'm not gonna take that. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna take that answer.
Did you just want Raven to feel like how you did?
No, that's definitely not it. I'm pretty sure he just asked me for it, and I just.
And you just gave her up to him.
But why? Why did you give them the
You don't do
information?
things without thinking. You had a motive.
Yeah.
Did he threaten you or something? Is that what it was?
I genuinely don't remember.
Yes, you
Oh
do.
my god.
Just say it.
I want to know what exactly it is about Vito you find so appealing. Because you apparently found him appealing enough to just trample over everybody who cares about you.
Dude, like fucking Lio is just so fucking gross. He's so gross. I gotta watch my swear words. Effing Lio is so effing gross. Just so effing gross. It's not the appeal factor. It's the fact that Jibz had a hard time cutting him off. Because that's a traumatic experience to go through. You think that's really easy? No, that's not. I love the stars too fondly. Thank you so much for becoming a gym rat. I really appreciate it. W.
Well, tell me, what about him is worth it? I want to know. Tell me. Do you want me to yell at you like I just did the rest of my staff?
No.
Ooh, that's triggering to me. Ooh. I'm starting to get mad now. I wish a motherfucker would talk to me like that. Do you want me to yell at you like I just yelled at my staff? If I were Jibz, if I were in Jibz's shoes, I'd be like, motherfucker, yes. Do it. Yell at me like that so I can get you. Please. I pray to the dear sweet Lord, baby Jesus. I pray to the dear sweet Lord, baby Jesus, that you yell at me like that because I will put you in your fucking place.
I recommend you stop hushing and you start talking. I am so.
They've been talking this entire time. That is so gaslighty. They're not talking. They've been talking. They've been explaining. It's just not to your standards. Your explanation or Jibz's explanation is not to Lio's standards. Jesus, this guy is such a prima donna. Such a prima donna.
100% done with this level of callous, stupid.
I would just love to have a call with Lio Convoy. I would love to have a call with Lio Convoy and have it be recorded or have it be on a live stream. I would love to get into blood sports with this motherfucker because I have so much to say. I have so much to say to this dude. I have so much to say.
Stupidity. I am 100% done with it. I have been as patient as humanly possible with literally everyone concerning all their nonsense. And you are sitting here right now wearing that 100% thin. Start talking.
Akira, you make a good point right there. At least you didn't have to pretend to be an overgrown cat to look tough. Leah, I agree. And I kind of wish Lio would face the reality of that. You don't have to LARP as a lion. You don't have to LARP as a predator poacher to be your true self. You don't have to LARP as something that you are not to be tough. You just go out and do it. Just go and do it. Just do it.
You can talk to a person who wants to dick down little girls. You better start talking to me.
Another point I want to make is that during the time when Lio was proposing the idea of helping me, and I do agree that he has helped me.
He's raging over nothing. So true. He is. He is.
He did help me with my recovery process against my abuser. Behind closed doors, he used very sexually explicit language to describe me and how my abuser saw me. One of the prime examples, which I don't have proof for as of yet, due to it being a private call, but I will be going through and trying to get my hands on all of the archived calls, is that he would say that I'm just a human fleshlight to Vita.
Imagine saying that, dude. Ugh. Imagine saying you are just a fleshlight to your predator, to your groomer. So disgusting.
I don't know how anyone would ever be able to say that to a human being, let alone a victim of grooming.
So true.
Another point I want to make regarding handing over this Discord user's name to my abuser is that I tried my best to break off all communications between them. Again, I deeply regret what I did. I was struggling at the time and I wanted to make amends for my mistakes.
This is why I say Lio Convoy is furry Mama Max. He's probably worse than Mama Max. Probably worse. Mama Max may have lied about the cases. Mama Max may have lied about putting predators in jail. But Mama Max, at the very least, did not insult the victims. He didn't resort to calling them a fleshlight to their said groomer. That is absolutely, like, that comment alone makes me feel so uncomfortable on so many levels. And the fact that Lio thought it was appropriate to use is disgusting. This is why I do not understand Lio's thought process and why he has to be so fucking sexually graphic when he is yelling at someone, specifically either a victim or a person who did something bad that happens to be a woman. Why do you get sexually graphic? It's just, it makes me think you are a sadist and you are sadistic in nature, and I don't like that. And it gives me toxic, it definitely gives me toxic vibes. If you are there to speak sexually graphic towards someone and you get gratified by that, or you get some kind of satisfaction from that, whether it's emotional satisfaction I don't think it's a sexual satisfaction. I don't think it's that to that level. If it is to that level, that's absolutely disgusting. I hope it's not to that level. But if you get gratified, emotionally gratified or satisfied by being sadistic towards somebody, yet alone a victim, you are a horrible human being. You are scum of the earth. You are the lowest of the low. I seriously get uncomfortable when Lio talks like that towards people, and when I witness situations or when I see proof of Lio being like that. It is a gross feeling inside. I feel uncomfortable. I fucking hope that Lio does not talk to people like this, even to this day. And if I find out Lio talks to people like this, even to this day, and he is still sexually graphic in these high energy conversations, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm going to fucking lose it. Because this is not okay. It is predatory. It's already pervasive. Already pervasive. It already happened more than one occasion, but it is predatory to be sexually graphic like that.
Mistake, which I did in the end, even if it ended up in the actions in this call.
He gave me attention and the validation that I wanted back then. I did not. Every time I would try to cut him off, I would just feel like shit for a while, and I didn't want to out to.
Deep Sea Monster says he is. I genuinely, like, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I really hope Lio does not talk to people like this. If I see an example of him talking to people like this to this day, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to have a real big problem. And it's not going to be a problem that Lio wants.
Deal with that.
But now you magically can't remember why. Could it be because he was more interested?
No, because I remember there was a point in which
Jibz says I was going over the old calls with Crystal and was like, take a shot every time I beg him to stop reading out the ERP logs between me and Vita, and don't actually, because you'd be dead. That's horrible. That was another thing Jibz, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But from what I got was that they were reading the logs and you had asked him not to, and they just ignored your request on reading the logs, hence triggering you.
he had sent me messages of him talking to, and I told you guys that I suspected that was talking to him because of behaviors. And then that cold call happened.
You lied to all of us.
Yes.
Did
I even had a call with you right after. I even had a call with you right after that. Like, we had, well, in the middle of that one, I asked, is there literally anything you could tell us? And then we got into a private call afterwards where I asked you again, and you just didn't tell me. You didn't fucking tell me.
Did it imply that she wanted to be with Vita or something?
No. Raven just was in the logs was just continuously wanting to be friends with Vita and play video games with him.
Why?
I don't know why.
So Jibz says, yeah, they would read out portions of the sexual logs or reference it repeatedly in multiple calls, multiple times. And every single time they have done that, every single time they would read these logs, you would tell them, please don't, please stop. You'd ask them not to do it, and they just ignored it.
And you didn't discourage it. You didn't say, ew, gross, he's a pedophile.
I hadn't directly told me she'd been talking with Vita. I only know because I had screenshots from Vita.
Just B says it's victim shaming. It's totally victim shaming. So true. Factual information. You were speaking facts right there.
Yeah. And I messaged her saying, hey, if you are talking to Vita, you shouldn't be. And I hope you tell me about something like that. I have
Yes, I would say please don't or please stop. I am not a bot, or I am not, sorry, I added a few words there. Oh my God. I am not comfortable with that. And they is specifically Lio, correct?
I sent the screenshots to Sarah.
You're still in
Yeah,
contact.
no, Lio has all of them. I gave them all to him.
To the point where I would just keep giving up on asking. That's so sad. That's just, oh my God. What was their reason into doing that, into reading the logs? Was it just to get back at you? Was it like a completely malicious thing?
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm quiet because I'm trying to think about what I'm gonna say next without.
Lio and some other mods in the Senate. PSA, if you are a person that read the logs and didn't listen to Jibz when they had asked you to stop, you are just as bad as Lio Convoy. Okay? Okay? I don't care how regretful you are, you're just as bad. And I hope your ass gets caught. That's why in this call I don't push back on it, because there was no point at asking. Okay.
Because my thing.
Pest was sent all around to do this. No, he was not. He was not around, yet he was more than happy to have these interviews where he's massively kissing Lio Convoy's ass.
Here is that regardless of like the context of what you tell us, regardless, you didn't inform any of us about it. You just let it happen. You let it happen.
You sit on it for a year and a half.
I don't think Slug was around for it either.
It's unacceptable.
Are you still in contact with
Of her added, but we haven't talked in a while.
That is not what I just asked you. I'm sorry. At what point did I say that I needed the specific details of everything? I just asked if you're still in contact. That's a yes or no.
The questions Lio asked me were not simple yes or no questions.
But speaking of Slug, Slug decided to make content shitting on Lio Convoy. I think it's specifically hilarious. I think Slug is only doing it for the grift. Because up until probably like a week ago, Slug was ridiculing me on his live stream, saying that I'm a bitch for like crying, direct quotes, crying about Lio Convoy. So Slug all of a sudden, like a few days ago, just like magically disavows Lio Convoy. And I seriously think I have the belief that Slug is just making anti-Lio Convoy content for the grift and for the views. I don't believe it when Slug is like, I disavow Lio Convoy. And the reason why I don't believe it when Angry Slug says things like that is because, again, he was ridiculing me for my coverage on Lio Convoy. He was saying that I was crying about Lio or complaining about Lio. So I think Slug is up to the same bullshit that he did with Mama Max. He does things for grift. He was Mama Max's editor up until Mama Max started getting canceled, and then all of a sudden Mama Max is a bad person. Slug is grifting on Lio Convoy.
There are no straightforward answers because this situation is complicated. There are going to be nuances which are simple to understand, honestly. For Lio to reduce such a complex situation and shout at me because I didn't give the answers he wanted to hear just isn't okay.
Yes.
Message her right now and you get her in this server. Because if you don't, in the next hour, I will find her again and I will call her parents on this call live.
Can I have an invite to the server?
Sarah?
I can get it.
So you're telling all of this now because you just feel bad because of all the stuff that went down with Coyote?
The stuff that went down with Coyote, because Vito was brought up, just reminded me of a lot of things. because I hadn't had my mind on it for a while.
It must be really nice to just be reminded of it because it hasn't been on your mind. Whereas I, right down the hallway, am dealing with somebody who is still affected by his actions. Must be really freaking nice. Must be nice and cozy in your college dorm, living a pretty happy life, all things considered. After you throw another child to a predator and keep talking to him, because I guess you just really like that 2-inch erect dick.
Dude, bro, why are you fucking that graphic? Dude, oh my god, Lio, this is just gross.
This is one of the points that is truly devastating, and that unfortunately was brought up multiple times outside of this call. That he thinks that I've gone over my abuser when I haven't, and uses Jordan's grooming to diminish mine. You can't get over your abuser that quickly. It has impacted me and still impacts me every day. The fact that someone who claims to care for victims is able to so arrogantly assume that this isn't hurting me just because I've...
Pest says Slug trying to bury his involvement with Lio. Slug East mad buddy with Lio. He totally was. Again, Angry Slug does things to grift. Like, that's why I don't, when Angry Slug says he disavows people, it's like, no, I don't believe you. You do things for the grift. You're doing it for the views. That's all that you're doing. You don't actually care.
moved into a dorm by myself, even though it is very disgusting. It felt like any time I needed to talk about my abuser or anything along those lines, I was mocked. It was reduced to a joke when I needed to talk about it, to process it. What I was trying to say here was that the Coyote Lovely situation made me realize I needed to come clean about my actions rather than hide it until it inevitably is discovered.
And I want to acknowledge Jibz's action on that, because that takes like what Jibz did, where Jibz is facing the Coyote Lovely situation and witnessing it as it's going down, right? And the fact that Jibz took action and had that self-reflection, that's amazing. That's great self-awareness right there. Great self-awareness. Although they didn't do anything negligent, although they didn't do anything horrible, they were able to self-reflect and go to Queen Seraphina and talk about it. W. Jibz. Jordan was pissed when he found out Lio would use his grooming to diminish mine. I don't know why. I don't know why there's like a pattern of behavior where people that are Peaches specifically, why there is a pattern of behavior that I am observing with Peaches and Lio where they are invalidating particular victims that they are not in favor of. I do not like that. I don't like that. People go through trauma. People go through traumatic experiences. If you're going to sit there and compare, and not only just compare people's trauma, but also prioritize trauma or the things that people have gone through, it's horrible. Horrible. Absolutely, absolutely disgusting.
This is disgusting.
I do have one question. Are you still in contact with Vita by chance?
No.
I can't believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
thought you knew
can't.
better.
No reason to believe me. I understand.
Correct.
You lied to my face. Tell me, what's the one?
There was no lying. There was literally no lying because they came out clean. I think it's so hilarious that Lio's like, I'm not a liar. I don't lie, guys. No, you are the world's biggest liar.
One thing I don't do it is lie.
You lie, Lio. That's like your number one go-to is lying. So to sit there and be like, oh, you lied to my face. No, they didn't lie to your face. They came clean, okay? They're being honest. Acknowledge that.
Rule I have with everybody.
Do not lie, do you?
There you do it.
You can't even follow the rule. What are you talking about? Sorry. I don't mean to yell. But literally, he's like, don't lie to me. Don't lie, guys. Do not lie to me. That is my number one rule. You gotta respect. You gotta respect it. Don't lie. Bruh. You are the world's biggest liar, bro. You are the world's biggest liar.
Trampling over literally everybody's work. So while Sarah was working on that video to expose Vita further, you were talking to him and getting all sorts of validation. How many times did you guys ERP after that? I'm curious. Tell me. How many more voice messages did he send you talking about how he wants to lick your body? Tell me. I want to know.
None of your business. It's none of your business, Lio. The fact that you think it's okay to ask this question makes you a disgusting piece of shit. That is none of your business.
No, you're over 18 now. It shouldn't be a problem. Come on.
Okay, this was what was still a minor, so can you not ask those questions?
She's 18 now, and
she's 18
now, and that's why I'm so doggone pissed.
They're 18 now. Can you not ask those questions, please?
Lastly, I had my reasons for wanting to keep all this private. One being due to fear of backlash from Lio and Senate, another being wanting to avoid stress and focus on my studies, and the main one is that I honestly wanted and have been trying to move on from everything that occurred in and before Senate. I'm not proud of my...
Yeah, Peach is my hero. I wonder why this. I think it's very interesting that Peaches left that in that particular clip in the Google Doc.
actions during that time, and I'm also not happy with the amount of things I let slide due to my distaste for conflict.
And again, just to outline, Jibz is being sarcastic in that statement when they say Peach is my hero. Peaches is definitely not their hero. Definitely not. Hey, Zad. You'll have a laugh for this, DM Leah. Okay, I'll check it out in a second.
Or how I was treated. Another thing is that while I appreciate any apologies that I've been receiving now, it's hard for me to accept them since they don't feel genuine considering so much time has passed since these events. Time which all these people could have used and some people have used to apologize to me previously. Not just for this call, but for the overall treatment I received while in Senate. I do think aspects of Senate and those in it helped, and I'm grateful for that, and for the times in which I was offered comfort. But that does not excuse or make up for the ways that I was repeatedly mistreated in that server.
All right, so that's Jibz. That's Jibz advocating for themselves. Jibz, legit. I'm so glad he was able to advocate for himself and put his foot down and say, hey, this is not okay that you do this. This is not okay that Peaches, Lumi, and Cosmic use my story as an own against Lio without my permission. Based Jibz. I am so 100% for advocating for yourself. If something, that's my one advice. That's my final advice on this. If something happens to you in your personal life and you don't feel right by it, or you feel like you're being unjustly, you're being unjustly misrepresented, or something wrong is happening to you, voice out your concerns. If you see something, say something. If you see something that you are not okay with, if you see something that you're not okay with, or somebody treating you wrong and you're not okay with it, say something. Establish boundaries. Voice out your concerns. Advocate for yourself. Go out there and say, stop. I do not tolerate this. I do not accept this. You are a piece of crap, or whatever you want to say. I don't tolerate this. I don't accept this. I deserve respect. I deserve empowerment. And I am taking my power back. Jibz. Jibz.